class. I hope everyone is doing awesome this week. Okay, so I'm going to apologize in advance. I am at home and it is 9 o'clock in the morning. So there's very high likelihood that a child is going to come running through the store with some problem, and I am not at work at 9 o'clock in the morning, so my phone is going crazy. So let's hope we can get through this before that happens. Let's talk about where we were last week. You wrote your research questions. You met as a group for the first time. Awesome. I'm glad everyone was able to do that. I believe everyone has received comments on the research questions submitted. A lot of questions were submitted right off the bat. Some had to be revised. If you were one of the groups that were asked to revise your research question, those revisions were pretty minor in all cases, but you need to make sure and do that by the date listed in that feedback and send it to me so I can give you a score. If I do not get that from you, I will score you on your original submission and you will still be required to edit that submission. So I don't know that any of us want to do that. Let's just get it all in by that date and move forward. What else is happening this week? This week is a really exciting week. It is our first week to dive into the literature. What is especially exciting about this is, in the light of COVID-19, you have been hearing a lot about research that is peer-reviewed, research that is sound versus fake news. It's really fun that right now we have this dichotomy between sound scientific research and fake news. Regardless of your political affiliation, we've all seen fake news on social media in the last couple of months. So this is your opportunity to really dive into that actual literature, that scientific peer-reviewed literature. So I hope that you can maintain my level of excitement as you do this assignment this week. A couple of things. You need 6 articles to complete that synthesis grid. All 6 articles that you find, the first 6 articles you find are not going to be the 6 articles that are included in that synthesis grid. Anytime it says you need this many sources, consider I probably need to read more than that because not all of them will be good. We're not going to try and fit a square peg into a round hole. No. If an article is bad, we're going to move on to the next one because there is probably a lot of literature out there. You don't have to try and take something that doesn't fit and make it work. So please don't do that to yourself. I recommend that you do a couple of things to make reading these articles go faster. The first is, first thing off the bat, read the abstract. If the abstract seems applicable to your topic, then go down and read the discussion and the conclusion section. If that seems applicable to your topic, then go read the entire thing. For a lot of these articles, you're going to find you read the abstract and while the title seems good, the actual abstract, it doesn't seem as relevant. And then when you read that discussion section, it really doesn't seem as relevant. So there's no need to read the entire article if it's irrelevant. Let's read the abstract first, then the discussion section. Then if it's applicable, go back and read the entire thing and include it in your synthesis grid. As with all the other assignments in this class, the rubric is fairly specific. Please go through and read that rubric. I don't just want you to summarize the article. I want you to tell me what it means. How is that article applicable? The rubric does a pretty good job of providing you guidance on that. So please do that. Why do we ask that you do this right now? Well, eventually you're going to do a lit review. And it is going to require that you find 10 sources and not just 6. Though to get those 6, you're probably going to need 10. So it's going to require that you do that, but it's going to require that you take somewhat disparate ideas and find a way to put them all together to sort of prove a point. Maybe prove a point is the wrong way of explaining it, to lead up to your research question. So if you do the work now, if you do the front end work, if you are very detailed with your synthesis grid, when we get to that lit review portion in June, you won't be spending as much time going back and rereading each of these articles. You will take what you have in that synthesis grid, add some transition sentences, and basically copy and paste it into your lit review. That is what you want to do. That is how we work smarter and not harder. I highly recommend you do it. Another thing I highly recommend you do is any article, once you read through that discussion and abstract and you are sure that that is something you want to include, I recommend that you print it out. I know, I'm old school. I'm killing all the trees, but I recommend that you print it out. I recommend you highlight it with one of these bad boys and then write notes in it. And the reason is sometimes when we read electronically, we don't put the notes in. We see, okay, I think stuff's here, I think it all goes here. But when you come back in 4 weeks to write that lit review, you've forgotten all of those things. If you take the time now to highlight, to add notes, to add post-it notes, all of those things, so your notes are easily accessible, if you do have to go back to that original article, you can easily flip through and find what you need. It will save you time. Kill the trees, print double-sided, but kill the trees and do this, because going back and finding that is going to be a pain for you at that point in the semester when you're really stressed. Do not do that to yourself. Please don't do that to yourself. Please don't do that to yourself. The synthesis grid also requires that you come up with the APA reference and citation. Do this now, because eventually you will have to copy and paste that into your lit review and then your final paper. And if you do it now, it's easier. Like I said, we're probably slightly less stressed now. You have fewer midterms, fewer other projects for other classes due. This is your time to do it. And if you do it right, you get to use it over the course of the entire semester, and you're going to copy and paste. If you weren't already aware, we use APA formatting in this class. There was a recent switch from APA 6, I believe, to APA 7. We're still working out some of those kinks. So use APA 7, but know that some of the examples are going to be in APA 6. But APA 7, Purdue OWL should have all of that information. I'm going to go through and grade those word review features assignments this week. Remember that they needed to have all 3 things. They needed track changes, accept and reject changes, and comments. If you have all 3 elements, you get all points. If you don't have all elements, you don't get all points. You get some points based on how many of those you had. So as those start to come out, if you didn't get all the points, that is why. Though the rubric will probably tell you that as well. There was also an issue with the personal application assignments. I sincerely apologize, there was. Now you should each have a blank discussion board to yourself. So go forward right now, starting on week 3, and post your personal application assignments in those individual discussion boards. I will see what I can do to pull those posts from weeks 1 and 2 into there. Otherwise, I will be amending the final assignment requirements so that you need 10 total posts instead of 12. But whenever that decision is made, I will definitely let you know, so you have all the information in advance. But move forward with those personal application assignments on your individual discussion boards. This is supposed to be a place for you to think through different ideas. I will say, you do not need to write a novel. The person that writes a novel versus the person that writes a paragraph for their post probably get the same number of points. So my recommendation is that you keep it fairly short and sweet. 1 sentence is not enough, but 5 sentences is enough. 5 paragraphs is awesome, but it's not required. So as you're going through these personal application assignments, keep that in mind. The other thing you need to keep in mind is those job postings ask you to find a job with a research emphasis, but it asks you to come up to explain how it relates to your career goals. Please don't just post the job. You also need to post a little paragraph at the top, like right before the link or the pasted job posting, that explains how that position relates to your career or research goals. Please don't forget to do that, because you will not receive full points on those job postings if you don't have all of the elements of the assignment. I hope that you all have a fantastic coronavirus week, wherever that may take you. I have been seeing a lot of jobs for contact tracers posted, so if you are someone who is interested in being a contact tracer, I highly recommend you start looking for those. I know our public health department is starting to hire those, and I've been hearing from friends all over the country that are starting to see that as well. So that could be a really fun internship. That could be a really fun summer-ish, maybe more than summer, but it could be a really fun job. So if you're interested in being a contact tracer, I definitely start looking at your state and local health department websites. Probably going to start seeing those posted soon. In the meantime, for anyone that doesn't want to be that, wash your hands, wear a mask in public, stay 6 feet apart from everyone. And if you start to experience any symptoms of coronavirus or come in contact with a positive case, please call your local public health department and get scheduled for a test right away. If you happen to live in Forsyth County, Georgia, call me. I'll schedule you for a test right away.